Welcome to the What the F Midlife segment of the Who Are You Now podcast. This is where we get real about midlife, changes, and everything in between. I'm Chrissie Morgan, and joining me is my co-host, Marva Silva.
Hi.
We come from different backgrounds. We've traveled different paths, but we're both navigating the same thing. What's it like to thrive in midlife? So each episode, we'll dive into the big transitions that come with this stage of life, relationships, career, health, and more. Mm-hmm. We'll share our own experiences, answer your questions, and maybe even have a few laughs along the way. So grab a cup of coffee or maybe a glass of wine, and let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
All right. So,
Okay.
What were you talking about?
So we were going to talk about who am I now?
Oh, yeah. So who am I now? Premise
Yeah.
of the podcast.
Yeah.
We are going to go into a little bit about navigating identity shifts in the who are we now
Right.
versus like what we were when we were younger, what we thought we were going to look like now.
In our 20s,
how things
30s.
have changed.
Yeah.
You know, as the relationships and we've grown and done our inner work, what are the things that change around us?
Everything changes.
It's true.
Yeah.
What do you find is the biggest identity shift for you now in being in the thick of it than, I don't know. I don't want to say all you 20-year-olds are dumb, but like when we don't have the same responsibilities or we don't have the same awareness.
Yeah. Well, we definitely don't have the same responsibilities, but I think like we were discussing earlier, compassion.
Yeah.
Compassion is a huge one. I mean, I can look back to being 20s, 30s, even into my early 40s, and really had very little compassion for other people's experiences. Mm-hmm. Not that I was cold or unkind to people, but just relating to people, it was hard. It was relating to people.
Well, I also think when we're younger, we're a bit self-absorbed.
Absolutely.
It's very much.
I think it's more that you just can't get out of your own.
It's all about us.
Yes. Your own stuff. The stuff that you're going through is the most important thing. And everybody else's stuff doesn't matter. That's such a shift when you get older. You start to really have compassion for people's experiences and what they're going through. And it's a wonderful place to be, because I look back on the person that I used to be and I didn't like that person.
Really?
Yeah. I was kind of a dick. A little selfish, you know?
Well, sure.
But
I don't know. I think that's the nature of like the 20s, because you see my kids coming up into that and yours are right in the middle of it. It's like you have to be self-absorbed in some senses,
and that's what I mean by
you're trying to navigate like what the world is all about and what people now for them with the social media. It's like
I can't even imagine.
Oh, no.
I'm exhausted by it and I'm not on it all that much. And their lives are completely wrapped up in social media. So I can't even imagine, it's bad enough that you'd go out to a club or with some friends and one person saw you and said, oh, she looked fat or she looked ugly. Now they're posting it and 1 million people are seeing it.
Oh, totally.
So I can't imagine it.
And going back to school after going out or going to a party, everything was sort of hearsay. So if you weren't there, like could have maybe happened, didn't. Now there's like proof everywhere.
Right. Yeah.
So unfortunately, I think it's, I don't know if the kids are more self-absorbed. There's an opportunity there to become more aware at a younger age, which is what I'm hoping for my kids, is that their awareness, maybe even being a little smarter, because we did a lot of dumb things, just for the fear sake of, dude, anything on social media stays there forever.
Somebody's watching
forever.
Somebody's watching. But yeah, I definitely think, yes, you're very self-absorbed when you're young. And as you get older, hopefully that goes away. You start to develop compassion for other people and what other people are going through. And it's not all about you anymore. And that's very freeing.
Oh, yeah.
That's very freeing. I'm very grateful for this part of my life. And yeah, I mean, even though there are things that come with getting older that aren't so great, that the emotional side of it is really, it's really quite wonderful, I think.
Yeah, I think you kind of get over yourself.
Yes.
And we start to realize how small we really are in the world,
Absolutely.
in the universe.
Yeah.
And it gives us an opportunity to be aware and actually step out of our egos a little bit.
A lot.
Right?
A lot.
So yeah, that's been a big thing for me as
Yeah.
I've gotten older is, I don't know, I've kind of always had like a little bit of a stronger awareness, I think. Maybe too much compassion, because I was probably more of a people pleaser, I guess.
Me too. People pleaser, but no compassion in my younger years, for sure.
Yeah.
But it's what we talk about all the time. We've done the work to get here. And I remember when I first met you and you would say, you have to do the work. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I had no clue.
I know, you just told me.
Doing the work was. I was like, what is this lady talking about?
2 years. She finally told me. We've known each other for like almost 11 years. And she's like, for the first 2 years I was working with you, it was all going over my head.
Wasn't
I was
listening.
like, what?
Yeah. I was just there for the pain relief.
Yeah, right?
And yeah, when the pain got manageable, I started to listen to you and all the things that you would talk about, mind, body, spiritual body, emotional, and the physical. And you started to make so much sense to me. And then I started to understand the do the work part of it. And yeah, I would like to think that I would have shifted on my own, but I'm so grateful that I had you there to guide me.
It's a little bit of a mirror. That's all.
Yeah. But
yeah, there is, it's not just our identity, but there's our physical, which we've had a little session about talking about menopause. There's the emotional, which some of that's menopause, some of that's just change. You look at things so differently as you get older and the different experiences that you have.
Yeah.
Whether it's with your spouse or relationships or your kids, your parents, all of that wrapped up, but then you have the mental, which is really where I think we're struggling as a society a lot.
Yeah.
And the spiritual.
Yeah.
And so your identity throughout all those 4 different bodies shifts, not all at the same time, sometimes together, but it's really important to take all of those into consideration as you're quote unquote doing your work or as you're going. Because, this is kind of going straight into relationships, but you keep hearing over and over how people of our age, when they just, if women tend to start the divorce process because the men aren't doing their work.
How scary.
It's very sad, actually.
Scary.
Whether they're afraid to, they don't think that there's any work to do.
Yeah.
But there's this definite disconnect that happens.
Yeah.
And
I've definitely seen that in a lot of friends.
Yeah. Or people stay and they're not really that happy, but they stay because they've been married for a really long time, or they stay because of the kids. I don't know. I think that's a very individual choice because nobody knows what's going on in your house unless you live there.
Yeah.
And nobody knows what's going on within your relationship unless you're in it.
Yeah.
So it's not judgmental, but it's just, when you start to take a certain path, whether it's spiritual or you're getting rid of your demons or you're trying to work on your triggers, the things around you will naturally line up differently because your perspective changes.
Yeah. And then I go back to compassion.
Yeah.
Right? Because you start to look at people with eyes of compassion, not this person is attacking me or this person is being unkind to me. You start to wonder, well, what's going on with them?
That's the biggest shift,
yeah,
right?
What's going on with them that they're doing this or acting this way? It stops being about you and your ego. And when you can see people through compassion instead of what they're doing to me, it just shifts your whole perspective on life and people. And there's a lot of peace that comes with that because it stops being all about you. And,
and I've always said the way people treat you has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
It's their lens.
And that's not an easy thing to understand.
No, it's not.
No.
Right? It actually has nothing to do with you.
Yes. You've heard that saying, the thing that I hate the most about you is the part that reminds me of me.
Yeah. It's the mirror.
Yeah. I didn't get that for so many years.
Yeah. The theory of people coming into your life, that I always believe that there's no coincidences. There's always a purpose.
I do too.
And some of that, with every person that comes into your life, there's an exchange that happens.
Yes.
And there's something that you're supposed to learn.
Yes.
And so we are faced with a lot of mirrors, and they could be different aspects of ourselves and different things.
Yeah.
But I think the things that put our defenses up the most or trigger us are the things that we recognize in someone else, or maybe that was our old self or somebody that we didn't like, or part of our being that we don't like.
Yes.
And so it's really important to stay aware in that and go through it versus run away from it.
Yeah.
You know,
it's hard to go through it, but try. It's hard.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And we'll go over through the episodes, some tips and ways that sort of help. I think that my biggest thing coming to compassion, if you want to go into a different thing, was starting to walk around like I carried so much on my shoulders, being responsible for everything, you know, like the kids and the house and the bills and the dogs, my own career, very overwhelming. But one of the beginning things I started to do in my own identity shifting was I started differentiating what was mine and what wasn't. So you know how you start letting go when we start talking about how someone's judgment or however they think about you has actually nothing to do with you.
Yes.
So it's the same thing with all these things we internalize.
Yes.
I sort of had to retrain my brain, dude. I was like, that's not mine. And so as soon as I say that statement, I have to, and this was a really hard work, I have to reconscious go the other way. And I don't let my brain go into the perseverating or the annoyance or the, you know, why aren't they doing this? Because it's not mine.
Yeah.
Even if it's my kids, which is probably the hardest thing because they're like sort of adulting, but not really. It's not mine.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's a really hard concept to like grasp. That's not mine. That took me a long time. When you would say that to me, that's not yours. I was like, I don't know what that means.
But they're making me irritated. I'm like, it's still not yours.
If it's not mine, why do I feel this way? Right. I definitely feel a certain way, but it took me a minute to understand that that's not mine concept. But once I did get it, it's so freeing.
Oh, that's so
freeing.
Like my brain is so quiet. Nothing takes rent out.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be there. Now, on the flip side of that, if there's something that is yours, are you ready and willing to walk through it?
Yeah.
I always say walk through the darkness, or, you know, your trigger. Don't try to make your environment so that there's no triggers. That's never going to happen.
It's impossible.
It's never going to happen.
It's impossible.
But if you actually walk through them and do the work and get to the other side of like the black hole, it is so freeing. I think that's pretty much why I wanted to start the podcast. Because I've, in this phase of my life where I'm at, dude, I found peace.
Yeah.
It is so peaceful. Even, you know, there's chaos and everything going on, but the way I approach it and
peace within yourself,
the non-reaction, there's just, it's very peaceful. And so I don't know. I wanted to share it with all of you guys. I think we'd all, if we could be just much kinder to ourselves, that we're automatically kinder to everyone else, and the world would then vibrate at a much different, higher level.
Yeah.
And that compassion would come in.
Yeah.
And the women are the ones, we're the leaders of our families. We're the leaders of emotional regulation in society. I don't say it's up to us, but we could really make a huge difference as a collective.
I think we do. When we were talking about that peace within ourselves, I just started exploring this, being kinder to myself.
That's the hugest thing. It's the self-nurture concept,
and
right?
I'm 54 years old, and I just realized I'm not so kind to myself. And
most of us aren't.
Yeah. And I've done so much work over the last decade with you. And I'm still surprised at moments how little I know.
No, I think none of us know.
Yeah. I know I'm always going to be learning, and this is a journey that's never going to end. But it really surprised me a month ago when I said to you, I need to be kinder to myself. And I thought, how did I just figure that out at 54? And let me tell you, it's not easy to be kind to yourself. It's easier to be kind to other people,
of course,
than it is to be kind to yourself.
Of course.
So I'm really working on that, and I really understand what that means now.
Yeah. So like the whole premise of self-nurturing, and I use the word nurture instead of being nice because the definition of nurture really doesn't change. It's like watering a plant. It's like, you know, taking care of something, but we never think of ourselves in that. We can do that for other people. We can do that for animals. We even do that for our homes, our spouses,
friends, family.
Oh yeah. But we never put ourselves in that equation.
No.
And I know that my voice, and we've talked about the voices in our head, not super nice.
Mm-mm.
Mine is a little, I wouldn't say mean in the sense, but it's always like, you got to be productive.
Yeah.
What are you doing? What are you doing? You should be doing this. You should be X. You should be. And so what I mean by being kinder is like not in a self-deprecating way.
Right.
So when people start to try to take care of themselves, a lot of times they're like, oh, you got to lose weight, so you better go exercise. You
Yeah.
better, you need to exercise. You need, and so it becomes this should and have to,
Mm-hmm.
or I deserve that cupcake. And like by saying that, I'd say, well, all the other time you don't deserve it then, just in that moment because you did something.
Right.
True kindness is the self-nurturing kind, like, what do you feel like doing today?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And even though you got a list a million miles long, other than the have tos of, kids have to be picked up or dropped off or
you just
whatever.
have to go to work.
Yeah. But then you got to take some of that time and just be like, what do I feel like?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever asked yourself what you feel like doing and followed through with it instead of, no, I have to do this. It's like, we have to get out of the land of the shoulds.
Yeah. The have tos versus the what's good for me in this moment.
Let
me be good to
and you
myself.
might only have 5 minutes or 20 minutes or,
it's nothing big. I mean, the newest thing that I'm doing, I think I told you this, if I'm hungry, I'll eat, because I've always, I'm dieting and exercising and counting every calorie. And I just thought that's just so unkind.
It's so unkind.
It's so unkind. And so that's where I've started to this very small step that I'm going to eat when I'm hungry, and I'm not going to feel bad about it anymore because
right.
I always have.
Well, and food is
isn't
the premise of nurture.
Yeah.
Right? That's like, it's fuel.
Yeah.
If we think about it in that sense versus our self-conscious insecurities of like putting food on doesn't mean you gain weight. It means you're nurturing your body because it's hungry.
Yeah. And for me, I know that sounds so small, but for me, that's huge.
Yeah.
So I think when you're being kind to yourself, you have to figure out what are the things that you do that aren't so kind to your body, to your mind, to your spirit. And so it's very small. I'm making very small changes, but
the little changes actually,
they're huge. They're huge.
Yeah. The domino effect.
Yes.
Is amazing.
Yeah.
Right? Because here's the thing from the spiritual, emotional, a self-worth aspect of your body. When your body says, hey, dude, I'm a little hungry. You're like, all right. And, you pick something that you're craving and it might be sugar, but you're only having this much. Or it might be like, I need some chicken. I don't know.
Yeah.
How your body receives that is in a loving way. And so it doesn't hold on to if you're not eating in a fearful state that like, oh my God, I'm going to eat this and I'm going to get fat. Your body doesn't absorb that energy of the negativity of that either.
And I feel like that's what's happening to me now.
And so it's just nourishment.
Yes.
And so your body goes, oh, it's just nourishment.
Yeah.
So there's no emotional attachment to the food that's going in your body. As we know, like, emotions store in different aspects on the body, depending on what we're going through. And
I can't wait till you start talking about all that.
That's
huge.
Yeah, it's huge.
Some of the lessons that I've learned in the last decade.
Oh, I know.
They're
it's
amazing.
Huge.
Yeah.
But I think that the starting with just being kind to yourself and looking at it as a self-nurturing, getting out of the land of the shoulds and the have-tos, because it's also self-deprecating.
Yeah. And I don't think most people realize that they're not being kind to themselves. I think that's also a shift. We were talking about who am I now?
Yeah.
And that's a shift that you start to realize I'm not so nice to myself. I have to take better care of myself in every way, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. And for me, the physical was important, but the spiritual has been just as important, if not more.
Absolutely.
And I have become very spiritual. I've always had a faith in God, and I was raised Catholic and I went to Catholic school my entire life. So, but it's different. Religion versus spirituality, to me, spirituality is very different.
Very much so.
And I have become more aware of that. And just that connection with your higher power or God, however you call him, that's really important in being kind to yourself.
Yeah.
And taking care of yourself.
And trusting.
Yeah.
And having trusting in an unknown. It's faith.
Yes.
That's what faith is.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that.
We're going
here's
so
the
deep,
thing.
Chrissy.
I know. I didn't think we were going to go here already. The thing is about like, you know how you talked about becoming more compassionate as you get older.
Yeah.
I think that it goes hand in hand is
with
being
spirituality
kinder to yourself.
Oh, okay. And spirituality's in there somewhere, right?
It's well, that's the premise of everything.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you have to trust and you have to know, and you have to know that even though you feel a certain way right now, that you always won't feel that way. And so that's what leads you to continue to do the work.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
It's trust. Because otherwise, like, why would people do it if there's not, I don't want to say there's nothing on the other side.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, peace is on the other side. Inner peace.
Yes.
An inner peace that doesn't get shaken no matter what situation I'm in. It's really cool.
It is very cool. Why can't we be this way when we're younger? Why do we
Because we're dumb.
Why do we have to get old to have peace?
You have to go through the experience and the pain, and you have to suffer.
Oh, that's not fair.
The 4 pillars of suffering.
Why can't we be cute and healthy and at peace?
It's like Mork and Mindy. Remember Mork and Mindy? He like, I'm totally aging myself, but he was aging backwards.
Oh yeah, that's
and
right.
So,
oh yeah, he came out of the egg, right?
But I will, yes. But I will tell you, like, I wouldn't trade the youth for the wisdom that I think.
I wouldn't either.
I wouldn't either. Because I feel like we're doing pretty good for our age.
We are.
And I wouldn't trade the wisdom.
I wouldn't either. And especially the peace. But I guess it's just par for the course. You only get peace as you get older, right?
Yeah, unless you came in a really old soul, right?
Yeah.
You start your work really, really early. I don't, I think the shift is when I'm like nicer to myself,
mm-hmm.
I don't see the flaws in others.
Yeah.
Because you're not, again, like how other people are your mirror.
Mm-hmm.
You're not seeing it. Because like when I'm kumbaya,
mm-hmm.
I want everybody else to be kumbaya.
Me too.
Right?
Yeah.
And we just don't see.
And maybe because
we're
surrounding ourselves with the people that
truly support.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's what we were going to talk about. That's a little bit of identity shift of how friendships change.
Yeah.
What I don't want to say boundaries, but what your friendship needs are. Right?
Yeah. I think I mentioned for me, what I've realized is that I like to be around people, or the friends that I have now are people that I really respect and admire. And when you're younger, you're just looking for club buddies or
fun.
Like people that are fun and outgoing.
Funny. Yeah.
And for me, I've realized in the last decade that, the people that are in my life, the friends that I have are people that I really respect and admire, that help me grow. That just
like there has to be an exchange, like what do they, not that what do you have to offer, but what do you bring to the table to help me expand my being, or
that's it, expand my being, not grow financially or in any way, just like you said, your being. I've shifted tremendously as I've gotten older. I was kind of a tomboy. I was a business owner, so I always related a little bit more to the men in the circles, because they were usually the main breadwinner, and so I didn't have a lot in common with the at-home moms. Mm-hmm.
Right? So there wasn't a lot of conversation for me there, but I could talk to people about business or sports or whatever, and I didn't have very many women friends. I mean, I had a few, but I didn't.
You got me.
I know. But even before you, though, I didn't realize how important it is to have women friends that cheer for you, that actually support you.
Yeah.
I always thought women were kind of like, that's why I was a tomboy. They're a little mean. They're a little judgy. So I steered away from a lot of that. But then I don't know if it changes, or I just realized how important women are to not only the world, but the families, and they're the glue for everything.
Absolutely.
And, you start opening up to women who are truly supportive. Mm-hmm. And those are my own issues of never asking for help, always being the helper, but calling you into my life and a couple other of my just stable, where I might not talk to you for a month, 2 months, whatever's going on, but they're just always there.
Yeah.
Right. And there's no competition. There's no wishing anyone ill.
There's no feeling guilty that I haven't called you every day.
Oh gosh. Yeah. We're too busy for that.
Yeah.
But you just know, if anything, we would drop whatever
Yes.
And be like, if you need me, show up, I'm here.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I have a few like that. Time can pass and it's like, we'll go for a walk. It's just the same. You pick up right where you left off.
Yes. That's the difference between friendships 10, 20 years ago and friendships now. You know, that, yeah, you can pick up right where you left off with the people that you know have your back, like you say, support you, no competition, just good friendships.
Just good people.
Good people.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't think that I'm very picky about how and who I want to spend my time with.
Me too.
I spend a lot of time alone, a lot of time self-reflecting, but I am around people all day because I still treat and interact, but it's like, I'm very particular about who Socially. I'll interact with outside of that time.
Yeah.
Yes, so I spend a lot of time alone, which is fine because it's the peace.
But I'm hardly alone, but
no, you're not. But you have you got a good vibe around you.
I got a good vibe. Yeah, it's good vibe right now. Good vibes.
It is. So
that's why we're talking about this. We want to.
I know.
We want to get good vibes out there.
And well, let me ask you this because you're still married, and I've been divorced 3.5, almost 4 years now. What is the biggest change for you? Because how long have you guys been married?
We just celebrated 28 years last weekend.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
28.
28 years.
Dang.
I know.
I got to 20. But 28 is something else.
That's a long time.
Oh, I know.
20 is a long time.
I know.
Yeah. 28 is great. I mean, I feel very proud of it. And I mean, trust me, it surprises me that's
a lot of work.
That we're here 28 years, not because of him, but because of me. Just what I came from. You know, there were no marriages in my family. I had no good examples of happy marriages. So yeah, it's been a lot of work to understand each other, I don't know. I don't want to say make it work because it works. I just, there's really no,
I actually don't think that
secret.
anything works without working towards it, whether it's the communication, learning how what they're saying and what they're not saying, like being able to see the truth in a person. Like it takes a lot of work.
It takes a lot of work. And what I've learned is that you can't expect that person to change because they are who they are.
Yes.
So you have to change the way that you're seeing the situation.
Exactly.
The way that you are, I guess, responding to that person.
Well, and as long as
makes all the difference.
I think the foundation is there.
Absolutely.
Which is where I probably miss. But if you have I always call them the 4 pillars. It's kind of like your foundation for a relationship.
Yeah.
You have to pick your own.
Yeah.
Right. And they have to align with the other person.
Yeah.
You can get through anything because you can always go back to the foundation.
Yeah. The foundation.
Right.
Love. And I mean, if you love that person, you'll work through it. You'll work through it. And I think that maybe later on in life, when people are splitting up, maybe they have stopped loving each other, but I think they've stopped loving themselves the most. And that's why they can't love the other person. I think
that sometimes I think people lose themselves for whatever reason. Yeah. And then when you start that journey back to yourself, sometimes that other person doesn't fit.
That's so sad.
It is. Right?
It's so sad. Yeah. But I think it starts with you, with yourself. If you're just not happy where you are, some people just start to think that it's their partner. I'm not happy because of him.
Oh, and if they would do something, I would be happy.
And I know that that's not true. I know that he just adds to my happiness. He adds to the quality of my life. And it's me. If I'm not happy with me, there's no happiness for us as a couple.
Absolutely not.
And so
that's huge to understand as you get older.
Oh yeah. And I think because I've done the work, I'm doing the work, I realize now that he could never make me happy if I wasn't happy with myself.
Right.
And because I do feel so much peace and I've done the work and I'm doing the work, I don't rely on him to fill me up and make my life happy.
Yeah. Or to give you your sense of worth.
Yeah. He just adds to all of it. He's just my partner in everything. And I'm so grateful for him. And I'm so grateful for everything that we've built together and our time together. And I realized that, it's on me to be happy. Yeah. It's on me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that maybe if people are breaking up at this time in their lives, I don't know. I think it has a lot to do with how they feel about themselves.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. I mean, I'm probably one of the few now I really know, because when I was going through it, I didn't put a lot of weight to it, but we were like super amicable. It was about the kids, what's best for the family. There wasn't like a loyalty issue or a cheating. It was just,
he was a great guy.
He still is. He's very nice.
Great guy.
He just isn't.
The guy for you.
I couldn't spend the next 30 years.
Yeah.
Like that. And I think that it wasn't his fault. It was that we didn't match. I did so much work. And this is not to say that, I left because he didn't do his work. He's happy the way he is. And so that's when a lot of resentment left, was like, you stop looking at someone like they should be somebody else.
Yeah.
Or they should be doing something else. It's just, that's got to be their choices.
Yeah.
It's hard to say, like, we didn't fit anymore.
Yeah.
I guess I could have stayed, but I would have felt more lonely staying than the peace I feel now.
You're in a great place right now.
It's very,
I really like you right now.
Good. I'm glad.
I really like who you are right now. We're just going all over the place with this, right?
But it is. It's just about who am I now?
Yeah. Who are we now? Yeah.
All of those things. I think that, friendships, I think your romantic partners or your spouses, right? Those relationships are really, those change so much over time.
Yes. As they should.
And they should.
As they should. Yes.
Right? And there's so many other things about your identity shifts. We can go into like what happens after your kids go. And we can go into like career changes. If you're changing career, how your careers look different throughout that time once you figure out what it is you want.
There's so much going on with this in this midlife WTF of ours.
But I think, talking about your identity shifts, it's the foundations of your relationships.
Yeah.
Those are the things that really change. And you can apply that to work too. But I'm glad we did friendship. I'm glad we did the relationship.
Yeah.
Because so I've got a friend who, what if right now, who you are right now looks nothing like you thought it was going to? I never thought I was going to be divorced. I married forever, And so opening that up, what if your spouse now travels for work and you thought, after the kids were gone, we're going to have all this time. And like, you're still by yourself.
Yeah.
What if they want to spend too much time with you after they retire and you're like, you're cramping my space.
Yeah.
But I think it goes back to what you're saying. Like, you have to be happy within yourself.
With yourself. That's exactly what I was about to say.
Finding peace and joy within your life and the things that you choose to do daily and how you nurture your own body.
And they just add to that happiness. You can't be dependent on them for it. And I think that's the mistake that as human beings we make. We think that our partner or a friend or whatever other relationship is supposed to make us feel a certain way. That's not the truth.
Agreed.
We should feel a certain way about ourselves, and they just add to that feeling.
And that's the premise of everything.
Yes.
It's the same thing with friendship. It's the same thing with your kids.
Yeah.
Your kids shouldn't make
you shouldn't
you
live
feel
for
a certain
them.
way. Right.
Yeah, you shouldn't live for them. Obviously, they're the most important people in your life, your kids, your husband, family, but you can't put it on them to make you feel a certain way.
No.
It has to start inside of you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's what I've learned along the way with all the work we've done, all the work I've done with you.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it's been awesome. Thank you, Chrissie.
I love you, Marva.
I love you too.
So I think that's a good place to end, because I don't know. I don't want to feel like we're rambling. And sorry if we are, but we just kind of get into our own conversations and go.
Thanks for listening to us. Thanks for
we will be covering much more. I have no idea what our next topic is. We kind of go on the fly.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry if that's apparent, but hopefully it's organic and it's a little authentic.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. And can you delete the part where I said the D word? I don't like it. I changed my mind. I don't want that in there.
I don't remember when you said it. I'll see if I can clip it out. I don't know. This, the whole recording, editing, producing is not my forte. Okay. I've been using my hands for 30 years on people. But it is a brand new skill set. And
you're doing great.
As hard as it's been, I'm super grateful that I'm learning new things and that hopefully we can help other people. Okay, so our shift has ended for today, but the conversation is just getting started. You got a question, a story, a what the F moment, let us know. We'll share it. We'll talk about it. drop it in the comments or message us at hello@whoareyouNowpodcast.com. Until next time, stay curious, stay real, and keep shifting.
Stay tuned.
Bye now.
Bye.